I'm waking up.
Getting ready to say bye-bye to the boat. I have a buyer who wants this thing, but they don't want the kicker motor, so I got to Dremel this thing off because I lost the key. Goodbye, boats. One happy buyer and one happy seller. Bye. I'm gonna miss you. All right, guys. Well, I sold my boat and I'm after a new boat. I found one at a yacht sales facility in Maryland. It's a Striper 2300 walk around, and I'm gonna zoom into this and I'm gonna show you something pretty darn cool. So the yacht sales facility is in Maryland, Deal, Maryland to be specific, and it's sitting at this harbor. And what's cool about this is that my boat, or the one that I'm buying or have already bought, is just sitting there. It happens to be on the GPS satellite maps, which is so cool in my opinion. But anyway, there it is. It's just sitting there. So that's the one that I bought. I've been in touch with the broker, and he and I have been going back and forth. He sent me a ton of pictures and provided a lot of information. He's a pretty awesome guy. I'm going to give you his name later, but right now I'm going to focus on showing you guys that you don't really need to be scared if you're trying to buy a boat that's out of the country. Or out of the state for that matter. You just have to work with a proxy or a broker that you have 100% communication with and that you trust. And the person that I am working with, I have full trust and faith in, because he's been sending me pictures and information, and we're talking every day until we finally close the deal. So anyway, this boat's just sitting there, and I bought it. And now I have to try to figure out how in the world am I going to get it back from Deal, Maryland, and take it 2,700 miles back to California, right? I think that's a lot of the reason why most folks, hesitate to buy a boat that far away, is because, one, they don't get to see it. Two, they're not sure what they're looking for. And three, they're not really interested in getting it back, from the east to the west, because the shipping cost is going to be tremendous depending on the size of the boat. But I specifically picked a boat that was, trailerable. I wanted to make sure that it met all of the guidelines for the height and the width and the beam, which is the width, that it met all those criteria, and it did not need any special type of towing requirements, or it didn't need special tags or regulations. Were all met, basically. In California, I think they have a low height chart that you can find, and when I was looking for it, the lowest chart height notice that I found was, I think, 13 feet, I think it was. And if I can find that, I'll show it to you guys. But anyway, this boat comes just under 11 feet, so 10 and a half, 11 feet. If the antenna was up, you'd probably reach around 20 something feet, because the antenna alone is 6 to 8 feet. It would have made it problematic, but because the antenna folds back, it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, trying to get this boat all the way from Deal, Maryland to California, how do we do it? That was my dilemma. And there's this place called uShip, or this service called uShip. And I'm going to show that to you guys in a minute. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we are. It's uShip. And I'm going to first start off by saying I'm not a promoter of uShip. I'm not affiliated with uShip, and I certainly don't make money from showing you uShip. I'm just showing you some of the options that I had to personally research myself on contractors to get anything from anywhere. So I stumbled across a couple different ones, and I settled on uShip. So uShip is just a platform for you to list what it is that you're trying to ship. And in this case, it's either a boat or a car, household items. If you want to move things, heavy equipment, animals you can even move, and freight of any kind, any size, anywhere in the country. And of course you have to register. You have to provide, your email address. And when you log in, you have to create an account. And when you do that, you're going to start a new shipment, and this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to walk through how I'm doing this. So I created a new shipment because I wanted to find out what it's going to take to get that boat from Maryland back to Sacramento, California. So I'm going to list under power boats and how many items do you want to transport? 1. This item can be found at a website, and they also have, predetermined web locations. In this case, it's not listed for me, so I put in Weaver Boat Works because that's where I bought my boat. And then, of course, you're gonna have to provide the information. In this case, mine's already detailed in there. It's a 23-foot striper Seaswirl 2300 walk around. The length is 24 feet. The width is 8 feet 5 inches. That's the exact specifications from the manufacturer. The height, I had the dealer or the facility measure from top to bottom, literally from the ground to the tip of the roof, and we came out to 10 foot 5 inches. Okay, and then the weight, dry weight, this is what you have to factor in also. My dry weight for the vessel is 3,550. So 3,550 pounds with the engine. It's an outboard engine. It's another 450, so I rounded it to 4,000 pounds. Okay? And is the boat on a trailer? Yes or no? In this case, it's a yes. Do you have pictures? Obviously, you want to provide pictures, which I've already done. Simple. I'm not going to do it again. But you choose the picture you want. I provided as many pictures as they'll allow. Upload the image, and then go next. Then, of course, the pickup location. This is going to be exactly where you want it picked up. In this case, I'm picking it up out of Maryland's facility, and you have to specify when you want it picked up. So be clear about this, because as soon as you start getting offers and such, and people are going to start sending you bids, they're going to want to know when can they pick it up. So if you've already bought the boat, it's fantastic because it can be any time. But if you haven't bought the boat, you might want to specify this between a certain date, okay, just to get an idea of what someone is willing to do so they can bid out for it. But I've already purchased the boat, so I want to pick it up on a specific date, or I might even want to do it between a specific date that's acceptable for me. So I'm going to specify, I don't know, I'm making this up, guys. I've already bought the boat, but I'd like to have it picked up between, I don't know, Saturday the 13th and the 20th. So that gives anybody looking at this shipment 7-day window of when they'd like to pick it up. Okay, that's important because some of the carriers may be in the area, some may not be, and you want to try to provide a listing that's going to give the most opportunity for anyone within the general facility or vicinity an option for them to decide whether they can pick it up. Okay, so we're going to go between 13th and 20th. I'm making this up here. Oh, not a restaurant. Facility. There we go. All right, where are we going? It's Sacramento. It's a residence. And you have to specify when would you like the shipment. So what I recommend, because I've used this 2 times already, is to provide a delivery window that gives the carrier, the various carriers, an option. Because you don't want to specify just a single day, because you're going to put off a lot of carriers that may not be able to deliver at that particular day. So give a window. You like to have it between. So let's say between the 21st and the 30th. Obviously, the delivery window is going to be personal. It's a personal choice when you really want to have it. But I just want the boat to get here, and I want to get it here safely. So I'm going to provide a wide open window that gives multiple carriers an option to be able to deliver it and pick it up of their choosing. And I'm going to be able to probably get a lot more folks bidding on this. Okay. So between the 21st and the 30th, I'd like to have it by the end of the month. That's ideal for me. If you want it faster, specify a specific date. But as mentioned, you're going to put off a lot of other carriers who may not be able to do that. So you want as many quotes as you can get. So let's go forward. This is the most important one. Okay, you have to think about your package. Think about your shipment. Think about what it is that you're trying to get from point A to point B. In this case, it's a boat. It's on a trailer. What can you do? I don't want these options. I simply want a tow-away service because it's already on a trailer. We just want someone to hitch it up, start driving. Nothing special about it. Okay? We're not putting this in the water. It's not going to be drive from the ocean on the east to the west coast ocean on the west. It's not that. It's a simple tow-away service straight across the country. If you wanted a flatbed service, you can obviously do that. Sometimes you have a boat that isn't on a trailer. You may have to specify or look into some of these other options. I don't want my boat trailered on a big rig, hauled across the country, because that obviously is going to cost a heck of a lot more than if it was already on a trailer where a simple F-150 can just get it to point A to point B. Okay, so I'm doing a tow-away service. That's my request. Okay, and then provide some information, all the details that you can provide to the carrier or the person's looking at your listing that's going to bid. Give them as much information as possible. Okay, put things like the boat sitting in the yacht facility, the boat sitting at a location, and here's the weight of the boat, here's the trailer, here's the ball hitch size. Provide as much information. It's got a 2-axle, 3-axle, perfect condition trailer, nothing wrong with it. It's got spare tires. List as much as you can so that the person looking at the listing can make a determination quickly, and they'll provide you quotes quickly. Once you do that, I'm just literally gonna type just random junk. But anyway, that's where you would put that detail. What you don't want to do in this listing, and I've had this happen to me because on my first shipment, you don't want to specify specific information, source addresses, destination address, pickup locations. Don't provide phone numbers or anything, of private detail. Don't put that stuff in here, because uShip will go in there, because they do look at this. The administrators will come in there and start removing the information, and they'll rewrite your entire thing, and it may not look like how you originally wanted it. So just leave all those private details out. Be specific about what's being transported, where it's going, but not the address. I can say from Maryland to Sacramento. I can say on a trailer. I can say things that don't reveal private information. You can do all of those things, and it's perfectly acceptable. So be very specific, and then we'll just go ahead and continue. And then based on the type of shipment that you have, uShip does this really awesome thing that they give you a number of the people doing it for the lowest and the people doing it at the highest. That way, when you're setting your price, which is what you have an option to do, is if you're on a budget and you only have a certain amount, this is where you want to set your price. Like if I only had $1,500, I would put it there. and you get people bidding on this thing at your price. If you want a guarantee of some kind that people are going to be looking at this and the offer is a little bit more attractive, you obviously want to go around the average price. Otherwise, if you're on a super budget, you would go really low. You may have days before someone responds to that. So set it reasonable. Look at what's the highest paid from that point, in Maryland back this way. And here's the lowest that someone's done it, okay? And be reasonable, because these guys are really taking the time to go out of their way. Every carrier has their own condition. They may, want to do it for cheap because they're already headed to the West Coast. They may have already had stacks of shipments between, the East Coast to the West Coast. And so they're able to do it for, I don't know, say $1,300. But there's some guys who will take a one-way trip and they don't have any other jobs, and they'll ask for the full amount of $2,500. So it's different for every carrier. So don't expect one carrier to provide you the same price as another carrier. It's just the way the game is, okay? So don't be turned off when someone, quotes you a really high price. Don't get discouraged either, because you as the shipper, you don't have to take the price, okay? And them as the carrier, they don't have to accept your price either. So it's kind of a win-win for both. Put something here that you're willing to pay. I'm just going to put something for now, and then I'm going to submit my offer. And then there's the shipment. Okay? We're going 2,700 miles. All the details were listed. And it's ready. People are going to start bidding on this. Carriers are going to start looking at this and they're going to say, okay, for 1,800, will I do it? If it works for them, they'll do it. If they say, no, there's no way I can do that, then no big deal. But you're going to start getting in your email folks that are interested. And at that point, you have to decide whether you want to accept it. In this case, they call it booking it. So you don't want to book, what you don't want, because the booking fees are pretty substantial. It's about $100. And once you book it, you're on the hook for that shipment. You now have established an open contract with the carrier, and the carrier is going to contact you. You guys can then exchange private information about exact addresses, to where it's going, to where it's coming. And you guys can negotiate the terms of payment. I think with uShip, anything under $5,000, they automatically charge you immediately for that amount. So if I were to go ahead and book this, they would charge me the $1,800 on top of their fees, on top of the carrier's insurance, and they'll charge that to whatever card that you're going to be putting this on. Let's say you put it on a MasterCard or Visa, they would automatically withdraw that amount, and roughly $2,000, take it straight out of your account, put it on hold, and then when the shipment gets delivered to you, then you would release that payment to the driver. So you don't release that payment immediately. The contract has to be fulfilled. The carrier has to deliver that package before you decide whether you want to release it. And that's the negotiation between you and the carrier. And at that point, you should be home free, except for the waiting game, because certain drivers, they do things differently. They have certain routes that they take, and they'll tell you how long it's going to take. And if that's something acceptable to you, hopefully you've already established this and you've already, worked out the time frames, the pickup times, the pickup schedule, the delivery times, the delivery schedule. And if all that meets both of your requirements, you and the shipper, or you and the carrier, then you've established a contract, and you would have done that long before you booked this trip. Okay, and then when you're done with that, hopefully you guys have established, a phone call to talk about insurance. Do they have their own insurance? Are you buying insurance through uShip? Those are all the things that have to be worked out on a private level. But mostly what I wanted to show you guys was that this can be done, and it can be done for a price of your choosing, regardless of whether you go cheap or whether you go, really highball, or you just allow uShip to provide you quotes and don't specify your price. Then that's up to you. If you have a specific amount you want to pay, you might wait longer. But if you let uShip, kind of quote you based on, the intelligence that it has, based on the platforms previous data on shipments going from the East Coast to the West Coast. They'll throw you a quote from a respective carrier, and you may like it, and you may be able to pick that shipment up sooner than you want, or you may not. But what I would highly recommend, based off my own experience, is to let 4 or 5 quotes come through, because you're going to find that there's going to be a price that's really, really high. Don't get discouraged, because again, that's just their criteria. That's the information that you've provided. That's what that carrier is willing to do. And then finally, after 4 or 5 quotes, you're going to get an idea of the kind of money or the kind of price that you should be paying for something of this type and this range and the time frame, because the pricing all varies. And then eventually you'll land at a happy point of what you're wanting to pay versus who can do it, when they can do it. Is it going to meet your criteria for time and day? And again, there's so many factors involved in your final decision. That's taken out of this equation. Price really means absolutely nothing. So that's a personal choice on what someone's willing to pay, and it's a personal choice on what someone is willing to pick up that shipment and carry it that distance, in this case 2,700 miles, to do and to complete. At the end of the day, this is where you would go. So I hope this helped, and I'm going to be tracking my shipment from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I'm going to try to update this daily, as my shipment gets here. And I've asked my carrier to please provide, photos of the pickup, photos of the stops, so that I can kind of, track in detail, how this boat is going to get here, because I'm excited, guys. I really am. I was very discouraged at first, but now I have a way, and now I know that it's not impossible to get a boat from that far back to California, and we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, guys, it is June 12th, and it's the day of the pickup. So the driver's communicated with me that he's ready to pick this thing up. I got another text saying that he's already on his way, and he's headed towards the pickup location over at that marina. I'm going to zoom in here and let's take a look at it. So what's fascinating about this, again, is the pickup location. It has the boat on GPS. So this boat must have been sitting long enough for the updated satellite images to capture it. But it's that Seaswirl striper right there. That's my boat. And we need to haul that thing back 2,700 miles across the United States. So I'm hoping to get a better update later on today, but that's where we stand. Hopefully I'll give you another update tomorrow. All right, so by now you probably already know that I'm boatless, but not for long.
Good morning. You know what today is? It's a pretty big day. The boat's here. I just need to text the guy, let him know that I'm up, and then we're gonna meet outside and check the boat out. But I need some coffee. Let's do that. Let's start with that, and let's get him over here.
Okay, so I was outside sweeping and the driver just texted me and said he's about 10 minutes away. So I just got done moving my truck to give him some room, and we're gonna try to meet him and hopefully record the boat as it drives up. Hopefully I'll be able to get that, because that's gonna be very exciting. So I don't know yet whether the driver will end up pulling in this way or through this way. There she goes. She's gonna swing around and park. Man, guys, I am so excited. Yeah. There she is. Look at this. There she is, guys. Looking good, looking good. Keep coming. right there. Yeah, right there. Perfect. How was the trip? I gotta shake your hand because I have gloves on. Brand new.
man?
How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, good, good. Man, we made it. We made it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Man, you did a great job bringing her here safely. Finally here. That was a long ride out of Maryland. It was 7 days because of all the nuances, but he's finally here. In the driveway. You don't have to worry anymore. Yes. Well, as you can see behind me, the boat has finally arrived from Maryland. Wow, what a long wait. It took 7 days, a lot longer than we expected because of the breakdown of the trailer bearing. But hey, it's here. There she is. She's gorgeous. We just have to tune her up and do a little maintenance and double checks, and she should be ready. Wow, I'm 30 minutes in and I still got a lot of cleaning to do. Got the roof all nice and white. Now I gotta get the deck white.
Huh? You got the what? That's the white what?
I gotta get the deck.
What deck?
The walking deck.